right, so what I want to do this morning is I've never done this talk before, and it's probably longer than an hour. So I've worked on giving the highlights. And kind of point, like, they just don't like to read. They also don't like to sit still all day. And so when I do the talk on the road, first of all, I haven't done this one before. Secondly, when I do, it's usually like 9 to 10:15, quick break. 10:30 to noon, lunch. 12:45 to 2, break. 2:15 to 3, Q&A, because people can't sit still. So what I'm going to do this morning is kind of just condense it to what matters most. And it's called Relationships Trump Rules. And I've heard some of you like use that term already, which is such a blessing, but more importantly, I've seen you guys live it. What I want to talk about this morning is what it means for relationships to Trump rules. And there's 3 things I really want to get across. So I hope you guys are paying attention, but please, I hope you're being present. We talk a lot about being the friend and being the expert, guys, but if you're not being present, are we really being a good friend? And so I want to talk about 3 things that really focus on what it means for the relationship over the rules. I'm not talking about compliance, Megan. I'm not talking about not doing your dot loop.
Not those rules.
No. I'm not talking about speeding. I'm not talking about not like paying a business privilege license tax or registering for your license renewal. I'm talking about the rules of life. It's 3 things. One that really been on my heart for a long time that I want to roll out. And yes, I'm going to have a book I've been working on for a long time. This is the title, and I got it approved. And also, if I go back on the road at all, I think I'm going to do a Christian music festival in early August with like Toby Mac and King Country, and he asked me to be the speaker. I'm not sure I'm going to do it though, because my best friend's 40th birthday is in early September, and he asked me to go to Mexico. Jessica can't go, and it's a couples thing. And so the second thing was for me to go there for early August. I don't know if I can make it all work, but I will provide. 3 things, guys, that I really want to focus on this morning. One, that how you were raised, how you were brought into this world, your childhood, does not dictate how you lead as a mom, as a dad, as a friend, as a brother, as a sister. So for example, for me, a lot of you guys know my story. It's not about me. But for me, like when I was a child, when I came to this world, my dad was not present. And, my dad was a bad husband. And this is being recorded, so my dad can't see this. But he doesn't use social media. He's a 72-year-old New Yorker Jew who doesn't know what Facebook is. But it's also the truth. I've told him to his face. He knows the truth. As long as you give grace, and I love my dad, so I'll put that in there too. But the rules will say that because I had abuse, and because I was neglected, and because my dad wasn't there for my mom, that I won't be there for my wife. And I won't be there for my boys, and I won't be a positive influence with y'all and with Jessica, and I'll be an abuser, and that's a rule society tells us, and it's a chain that most of us live with. That's not true. And another rule is that yeah, it's true. I couldn't play professional baseball because I wasn't like strong enough or fast enough or talented enough to have the eye-hand coordination or a lot of things, or a comedian, because that might be a rule that actually could be true. It's not one of the 3 I'm going to talk about this morning. But another rule is there's only been 46 presidents in the United States, so you can't be president. There's never been a female, so you can't be the first female president. And if you're new to Charlotte, you can't move to Charlotte in 2005, and then with God putting all you amazing people in my life, build this business. Because I was told when I moved to Charlotte, guys, I was told by a sales manager, you're going to make 15 grand in year 1. That's for all you new agents. And then you'll make 18,000 a year 2. If you're really lucky and you can make it for year 3, you'll make 50 or maybe 60, which is good money. Most people can't make it to that, right? Because there's 20,000 realtors, and most of them, so I was told, most of them, David, those 14,000 back then, most of them have been doing it for a long time, and most of them don't pay their bills. So how are you as a 25-year-old young whippersnapper? I kind of look like you back then, Christos. How are you going to do what 15,000 others can't? So the rule says that most people will not make it in those things. If you're new, it's 20,000 realtors, guys. You're not going to make it. Right? That's the rule. The rule says that I'm going to be an abuser. I'm going to neglect Jessica. And I'm going to leave my boys. The rule says that I shouldn't even be in real estate right now. And y'all shouldn't either, because most people don't make it in real estate. They don't. That's the rule. The third rule, and this is for a real estate conversation because we are a real estate company. But really, I feel like more like we are a nonprofit or we are a church that sells real estate. That's kind of like where I feel like we're going, just with your hearts. The third thing I wanted to unpack with you guys, the third rule that relationships will trump, that I feel like is on my heart with DHR, is, yeah, well, you know, maybe you're a good husband or wife, maybe you're a good son or daughter, maybe you're a good friend, and you've broken that chain. And maybe you made it in real estate, maybe you made it in mortgage, maybe you made it in service. But the third rule is, you know, this is how it is. If there's 10 bidding wars, you're gonna have to take 10 to win one, right? This is law. I mean, I was an economist. You don't have to be an economist. You don't have to go to calculus to realize that if there's 10 people in the bidding war, it takes 10 to win one. Fair? And if you win the first, you lose 9. This is numbers, guys. It's 10 people. You win one, and you win one, and you win one, and you win, like Oprah style. Like, you get 1 out of 10. That's what the rule says. So if you're in 10 bidding wars, you might win 1. And you're going to be discouraged, demoralized, and 9 people are going to lose, and your clients are going to be let down, and you're let down a lot of families. But you know what? When you have relationships, you guys know this one too, when you have relationships, is the reason we win 8 out of 10 bidding wars. How's that possible? 20,000 agents and 9 to 20 other people in each bidding war. So I don't want to stay in hyperbole, conjecture, like airy-fairy preaching land. So I really was praying on like what 3 things for our gang for 1 hour I could just really dig into that are kind of like the best 3 chapters of a book on relationships trump rules that we can live by. And again, the chains that you were given at birth are not the chains that you live with. The rule says that you're going to be how you're defined. Daryl, you can't be in shape, man. If you aren't in shape, you can't be in shape. You know, I was raised Jewish, so I can't, you know, love the Lord and love people and still honor my dad who's Jewish and my friends, like my 2 good friends over here. A couple of my best friends are Jewish this day, and we laugh at each other. For a couple months, they're like, what does it mean to be a Christian? You know, so the rule says. So I want to remind you guys that you are more than enough, and that however you were raised and however you have been brought up, and any relationship you've had over the last few years, in a marriage, with a spouse, with a partner, regardless if it's when you were 1 year old or when you were 40 years old, we're almost there, Glenn. That is not a handcuff, guys. That's not a chain. The rules say that's who you are. It's not the truth. Relationships God put your life in who you are. Second one, again, I want to remind you that just because there's a lot of other people that are struggling and we're here to serve them, doesn't mean that you're not able to change the world as a marketplace ambassador. You're not able to own land, own commercial, and build this big and sell as many houses you want and get luxury listings for others. You know, because when we help someone with a big listing, by the way, Beth, I mean, you know, for your sister, not only those dollars that come back and get pushed forward to grow the success team and to pour into our mortgage company, when you see testimonials from Covenant First Mortgage, and here's the thing, guys, the rules say that someone with 31 years experience doesn't join a brand new mortgage brokerage. Someone who's making $250,000 a year doesn't risk all that to join a team, a real estate team. We were in a brokerage back then, right? And then a worship pastor from San Diego doesn't drive 3,000 miles with a family of 5 and say, I have no idea what I'm walking into. And the rules say you just keep doing what you're doing because that's what you're doing. You can't change careers. I can just all day with you guys. There's those 3 things I want you to unpack. And then the third one is, not only do the rules say that Teresa shouldn't change careers at her point in her life, maybe mid-30s. I don't want to talk about age. She might watch this. And you look 29, Teresa. I mean that. The rules say not only should Teresa never have came, and John should never have came, but Teresa should never have grown her business with us, because we're just another team out of 20,000 agents. And a lot of us are just newer agents, or we're just part-time, or we have other careers, and we're just realtors. See, the rules say, guys, that we're just realtors. We're one of the least trusted professions. So the third thing, again, is that, you know, we're just realtors, and we're just handholders, and we're just order takers, and we just do whatever our clients say they need. It's really what they say they want. It's not actually what they need. So those are 3 things. Your chains are not the rules, guys. Like the relationship that you have with God, the relationship you have with your parents, with your kids, with your spouse, that's the relationships. And you know, I had a meeting this morning with a friend that Brad knows and Daryl knows, and he sent me a video the other day. And the video said, like, I'm leaving, and I'm not selling my house to buy a new one, and I'm not coming back. So I want to say goodbye. There's a video he sent me. He's like, I'm in Marvin today, and I wasn't free. So like, wow, he's taking his own life, or he's leaving his wife, right? Like I gotta fix this in real time. So I met with him this morning. He's like, no, I'm just going on the road. in a caravan with my kids. I'm like, okay. And your wife? It's like, okay. It's a little different, it's a little weird, but it's still cool. You know, I mean, I thought the worst, guys. Society has told us that the rules say whenever you don't just follow the norm, that you are just gonna leave your family or take your life. Like that's what we do. You know, 50% of people leave their family, and with everything going on in the world, a lot of people are taking their lives. And we're sitting down this morning, and it was on my heart. We were talking about how all the distractions in the world have taken us away from the real relationships, guys. And one thing that we talked about was, has anyone ever seen the TV show Hoarders? So like I have a family member who's a hoarder. And what happens when you're a hoarder? You know, you say, I need a can opener, so you get one. You're like, oh, I may need it one day. You don't need it today, but you may need it one day, so you get the can opener, right? And then you say, like, I need this, recliner chair. I've got a good one, but, it might get bad. And like when I have friends over, I need a second one. And then you get some gifts you don't really need. You can return them. You can give them to home. You give them to the Salvation Army, Goodwill. So you just kind of keep taking them. And then you say like, oh, I went to a yard sale and I found like this little, like this sign that's cool. I don't know where I'm going to use it, but it looks fun. So I'll just kind of put it in my living room. And then you say like, oh, I need a third toaster, because you never know, because this toaster like does a third set of toast or whatever, or like another, it does bagels and bread, and it's gluten-free.
That one made more.
Well, okay. So you can separate the gluten from the non-gluten. And so the next thing you know is you just keep hoarding all these things. And then you're like, one day you look up and you're like, I can, I'm not feeling the best. I can go for a Campbell soup. Where's my can opener? And you can't find it. So you go on Amazon with one of your 4 laptops and iPads, and you buy another can opener, right? You guys never experienced this. And so now you buy another can opener, but now you don't need it anymore because it doesn't come for 2 days. And so you go through this whole thing, bless you, and then next thing you know, you have 10 can openers. You can't find any of them. And you have 4 iPads, and none of them are charged. And you have 17 chargers that are half eaten by the rats that have moved into your house because you have old food from like, right? I used to, as a kid, guys, I had these black boxes in my house, throughout the house, with a big hole in the side. If you don't know what that is, like those are rat houses. And so there's a big hole, guys, all throughout my house. I lived in a house that had boxes with holes in them to capture the rats. I didn't think any of it, but just because I grew up with rats and drinking toilet water doesn't mean that today, anyone in my life, they were going to grow up with rats and drink toilet water, right? So the first and the most important relationship, guys, is the relationship with God and with your family. And it doesn't matter if your mom or your dad wasn't there for you, you be there. See, it's like for me, I have the greatest blessing of them all. Because on the front end, the rule said, my friends have always said, like, I can't believe that you didn't do what your dad did. I was like, no, he laid out the agent manual for me. He laid out the husband manual for me. He's like, I'm over here, you go over there. He laid out the father manual for me. He made it easy. He's like, I'm going to show you how not to be. That's the greatest blessing, guys. The rule says be like your dad. So I was like, I see my dad. I love my dad. To this day, we were texting the other day. He said, I love you, son. It's like the 3rd time I've heard it. I don't even know if he knows my name. He doesn't know my boys' names. But he teaches me how not to be, right? The rule says, be like your parents. The truth is, thank you, parents. Thank you for bringing me to this planet. I love you, and maybe I need to be over here. So that was an easy chain to break, guys. Don't get me wrong. I have insecurities. My one regret in life is not saying goodbye to my mom, because when I got older, I got selfish, and I made it about me, and I was telling you this. And for a few years there, I'm like, oh, yeah, Mom, I'm going to come visit you, because I wanted to. I had good intentions, but the world owed me something. The rule says, no, you're owed something. You never had your childhood. You never had friends. Your friends thought it was cool to throw eggs at your house because you were the weird kid. You deserve to have nice meals because you never had them. You deserve to make it about you because it was never about you. Then I get to say goodbye to my mom because she died suddenly, and I don't know if she knew, and she wanted to protect me. So the relationship I had with my mom was superseded by the rules that it's about me. It's not about me. I needed to honor my mom and that relationship that God put in my life. Then as you get older and you have opportunities to serve, for me, like I was an economist, I was becoming a sports agent, I'm sure you guys may know. And the rules say, okay, make it about yourself. See, my mom just died and I need to say goodbye. So I go to the funeral and it's an open casket, and my mom, dark brown hair, just like yours and many of y'all, darker than mine, and this feeling of regret because the rule said that I have to, make it about me because it never was, right? Like I never had good food, so I get good food. I never had people in my life, so I need to go seek out people. See, my mom was always there, but I need to seek out people. I need to seek out girls and friendships. I never had this, so I was seeking it. But the truth is, the relationships were there. I just didn't see them. So my mom passes, and you know, I'm becoming a sports agent, and for the first time, God put on my heart. I did not know him then, but he put on my heart to leave, to focus on multiple sclerosis, to go the MS walk. And so then I moved to Charlotte. And this is not about me, but I'm going to show you where I broke some rules. Focus on the relationships in my life, because I never had them, guys. See, I never had relationships as a kid. And so for me, it's easy. Like, you guys mean so much to me because I never had y'all. See, sometimes when you're raised with so many relationships, you take them for granted. So you have so many can openers, you can't even find any of them. You have so many friends in your life. You have so many neighbors, people who have been there for you, and you keep seeking out the next thing that you can hoard. The next person. Well, I mean, I helped them buy a house last year, but I need to focus on this next person, because if I don't focus on this next person, or that person may not buy another house for 10 years, but this next person, they may buy a house next Tuesday. So I got to put them in my database. I need to pour into them. I mean, yeah, they'll be a friend that they need me to help them buy a house and make a commission check. But right now, I mean, they're good. They're good. I need to hoard more people. I need to hoard more can openers because I can't find my last one. And then you look up and you meet with a friend you haven't seen in years, and he just tells you he's going on the road. And you're thinking he's probably going to kill himself or leave his wife because you haven't been his friend. I couldn't find my friend, just like you can't find your can opener. So rule says just keep focusing on more and more things to hoard, more people that you can serve. The thing is, though, guys, the truth is the relationship that God's placed in your life is more than enough. You've always had a can opener. You have a toaster that works more than fine. You have a microwave. You have friends. You have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a partner. You have a husband or wife. You have parents. You have clients that you served years ago that if you actually focused on them, they're actually your friends because they actually pick you over these 20,000 other agents. Because the truth is, the rule is telling you there's 20,000 other agents. You can't be complacent focusing on the people that are already in your life because you already served them. But the truth is, guys, if all you do is focus on the people already in your life, they're the ones that actually trust you. You don't need to hoard. In our house, we are cleansing. Every time Jessica's family comes over, we try to see if any of them could benefit from anything we have. Or she will go to Goodwill. She used to work at Goodwill, so she does trips to Goodwill. And we're just doing less and less. And a couple weeks ago, it was during the workday, but Jessica saw 2 different families that are homeless. And that's what we talked to Shale about, Daryl. And for one of them, Jessica went and got 2 gift cards, $100, $50 from Target. And then she told the boys, knocks his floor. It's like, hey, we're taking the shoes off your feet. Took the shoes off her feet, knocks his feet. And said, we're giving those and your PJ Maxx toys. He was bawling. Kane goes, Proverbs 22:6, raise them up the right way so when all they will not depart. Kane has already got it. I mean, he's I didn't know God until I was almost 30 years old, but Kane knows the Lord. Kane goes, knocks. We got plenty of shoes at home. This family needs these shoes. We don't. But what about my toys? Kane calls him Nain. What about my toys, Nain? I mean, the rules say these are my toys. I need to look at myself first. I need to put the air mask in myself. Guys, it is true that if you don't rest and take care of yourself physically and mentally and spiritually, that is a true rule. If you don't take care of yourself, then you'll eventually break down and you can't help anyone else. But once you take care of yourself, take care of the other people in your life. Don't seek out the strangers. And because God will put the homeless family in front of you, serve. And so then we take the toys, Jessica, not me. I'm going to give her credit. She gave the toys in the backseat, all of them, to this family. This little boy and girl, like Jessica said, like their eyes lit up. Jessica's crying, tell me this. And Knox starts crying again. And he's like, these are mine. You know, the rules say these are mine. These are my toys. You bought them for me for Christmas, or Santa brought it. I lose track of when it's us, when it's Santa, when it's Amazon. But and Kane goes, he's Nain, those are our toys, Like, those are mine. And Kane goes, no, actually, Mommy and Daddy bought them from us, for us, with the money that God gave Daddy. And today, God put them in your life. So I love you guys. Like, if you don't feel that like this is more than real estate, so we gave everything. Like Jessica said, she went to Target, got the gift cards, took the shoes off their feet, all the toys. It wasn't about like a couple $100 or like some toys, guys, but just being a good example. But there's no rule that said you have to do that. No one's watching. There's no media. There's no one like putting a camera. But God put them in our life. That's a relationship. You don't need to seek out people because you already have too many people in your life as it is. You're already hoarding too much stuff, guys. You're hoarding too much stuff in your house. You're hoarding too many people in your phone. that are not the right people because you're thinking I need to go out for more and more and more. And you can do an open house all day and night because you're ready to reach out to everyone in your life and there's nothing else you can do for them. Or you can go deeper with the people already in your life. And so again, the rule's going to say, well, no. I can't pour into my marriage because my dad didn't pour into his marriage. And the rules say like, well, I can't focus on my husband because like my mom didn't focus, or my husband, whatever the story is. Or I'm never going to be able to be a good mom because like my mom, or my mom was this way, so I have to be that way. Maybe God's showing you how not to be. So the rules say that's how you have to be. That's the change. And maybe what God's doing is telling you, like showing you, like, that you're more than enough. And that adversity, at least for me, guys, what a gift. That adversity has been like the greatest blessing for me because I'm so grateful. Like, I don't know if I always show it. I'm far from perfect, but like, I'm so grateful. When people ask, like, how come you talk about relationships so much? How come it's so important to you? It's because I never had them. So it's funny, right? Like people think like, oh, Dave, like your dad must have like really like had lots of relationships. Did you like just serve a big company or a big church, or was he like principal of a high school and he knew everybody? I'm like, I don't know who he knew, but I didn't know anybody. And the people I knew weren't very nice to me, except for that one, my mom, who when I'd visit her and she was in a wheelchair and she needed aid to get her out of bed, and she'd see her only child was taken away from her, and I'd see her 5 times a year. See, when I'm a kid, I'm like, why am I not here? Then I'd leave, and I didn't realize that I wasn't a dad or a parent. Her only child was taken away, and all she did was laugh and smile. I can tell you vividly, watching Stand By Me with her 5 times a year, eating combos, and she'd buy me these Star Wars figures, which I really wish I kept. And by the way, though, guys, you can't have regret about anything materialistic, because the reason why they're worth something is because no one kept them. No one kept the Mickey Mantle card. No one kept the Jordan rookie card. Do what no one else does. The rules say to throw all that away, right? And you should, because materialistic is all going to burn. But guys, the relationships in your life, regardless if they're a blessing or if they seem like a curse, they're a blessing. Okay? They're a blessing. Just don't seek out the ones not already there. Don't seek them out. The rules say that you don't have enough business. You need to go find strangers. You need to go seek out people that may want to do something. No. The rules say you can't focus on being a friend. You talk about being a friend, being the expert, being present. Then you got to be present. If you're present with the people in your life, you're like, no, but I have to make my mortgage payment. Well, no. They said they're not going to do anything. Well, maybe they said they're not going to do anything because they don't know if you actually are the expert, right? They said they're not going to do anything with, in real estate because they don't know what they need. If I go to the doctor and I say, no, I don't even get my cholesterol checked, I'm only 41. Remember, 36, the doctor said, you don't have to have your cholesterol checked. I don't know best. The clients don't know best. They're like, well, I don't have time to go any deeper because I have all these other people I got to seek out. I got a mortgage payment in 2 months. And the rules say, well, I can't risk losing my house to focus on being a friend. That's what if I told you, you said, like, how'd you build your business, David? What if I told you the reason why Teresa joined Covenant First? If you think about why you're all here because another friend in this group is why you're all here, right? And so you didn't come because you were told you're going to live longer and, like, have this six-pack like Daryl and have rippling arms like Brad and Christos and Glenn, of course. Like, you weren't told you're just going to get rich overnight. I mean, raise your hand if you were told 4 a.m. infomercial, not that I'm up at 4 a.m. because the puppy thinks we're reminding me bread. You're all here for the friends. And then you have faith that God will provide, because he will. So I want to go a little bit deeper. First and foremost, guys, the foundation is you're never going to reach your true potential if you're reminded of the rules, that the chains are going to keep you strapped down. I never would have came to Charlotte if I thought like my dad. I never would have stuck by my wife's side when she got sick a couple years ago. She even said, you're doing with me what your dad would do for your mom if I follow the rules. Okay? I never would have been in real estate today if I followed the rules. We would not win most bidding wars, we'd lose them. Yesterday I went to a listing appointment, dressed like this, essentially, different shirt. I wore this shirt. It's really weird to wear a shirt. That's why nothing else is in the name, but like it's really weird. And I had a meeting. I didn't expect to have a meeting this morning, but I just want to remind you that we are in real estate. You should be proud. The rules say everyone's a realtor, because they are. But when I started, and people would say, what do you do for a living? I'd say, I'm in real estate. They never met anyone. They started laughing. I know I'm not that funny, Glenn, but I didn't know you yet, so I didn't know the bar was really low. I don't follow the rules. But the rules said, guys, first step, the rules said break the chains. Your dad's over here, you go here. Your dad was like this as a husband, you go like this as a husband. Your dad always made it about himself, you always make it about others. Your dad doesn't know your name or your son's name. I hate to say this, but he wrote it to check each of my boys when they're born, both names are wrong. Like, it hurts, right? I'm still trying to find a way to meet him. I mean, I know him. My wife's met him. My boys never met him. A couple of years ago, we were on the phone, and it was on the speaker. My oldest goes, "Hey, Grandpa." He's like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "That's your grandson, Kane." He hung up and texted me. He's like, "Don't ever put someone on the phone." And I think he has some challenges. And so the rules say I have to forget him, right? Well, no. He was put in my life. I can't forget him, guys. So that's first and foremost, guys, firm foundation. Something's on each of your hearts. Something is telling you that, like, you're not made for greatness. Something is telling you that a relationship where you were harmed, a relationship where you were hurt, abused physically or mentally, that you're not more than whatever you're going through, and you are. Second rule is like, okay, well, I'm going to be great in real estate, but you know what? Like, all these people right now have all this experience. All these people have all these connections. Well, guys, when I moved to Charlotte, people laughed at me. They literally laughed at me. The sales manager gave me a chance. She's a dear friend. She's like, "I just got to tell you the rules." I was like, "Oh, well, you already lost me your rules. Earmuffs." I'll always support the rules to be protective. I don't speed, right? I'm not going to intentionally ever harm anyone. I'm not going to break into someone's house. I'm not going to stay at an establishment after it closes. I'm not doing it wrong. But when it comes to rules for what's possible, oh yeah, I'll break those rules because it's Tuesday. I'll break those rules because God put someone else in my life for me to focus on. I don't have time to focus on rules. You have amazing people that focus on rules. You also don't have time to focus on rules outside of the ones that protect.
Focus on the written rules.
Yeah, you focus on the written rules. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. This is not a compliance conversation, guys. It's not a compliance conversation. You got to pay your mortgage. You have to pay your cell phone bill, your water, or you will not be taking a shower tonight. Okay? Like, so I don't want you to go home like, "Well, David says don't pay attention to the rules. I'm scrapping all my bills." No. You kids have to go to school on time. That's more of order. That's more of direction. But the rules said in 2005 that I couldn't help enough people. And I sold 46 homes my first year. Now, I didn't have a wife and kids, so I was able to just be like, I'm just going to immerse myself. But I heard her say, "You can't do this because this is how it works. These are the rules." And I'm like, no. I got to make a friend. I just have to build relationships. If I build relationships, I'll break every rule. They'll trump every rule. You just build enough relationships. You guys already have those relationships. Some people are like, "Well, how'd you do it with knowing no one?" Here's the other thing, guys. We're talking about building a business now, building the life that God has planned for you. To give back, Beth was talking to her sister about, to create hope for home. It's going to change the world there. You know that. You guys all know that. And Bettino, that sanctuary course is awesome. So you got to make sure the other three are just as great: financial and home maintenance and home ownership. But the next one was, this 20,000 agents. It's 14,000 back then. 14,000, guys. Have the Hornets ever had 14,000 people in their arena since Alonzo Mourning and Larry Johnson? No, they have not, right? I mean, LaMelo's pretty good. Cody's a friend. When was the time they had 14,000 people? I don't know who's a basketball fan. 14,000? Guys, today there's almost 20,000. Time Warner Cable Arena, Elton John comes in town. Elton John can't fill all the Charlotte Realtors in the Carolina MLS in Time Warner Cable Arena. You guys realize that, right? The rules say that we, just a group of brothers and sisters that genuinely care and give more than we take. That's all I just want to remind you guys. Our goal here is to give more than we take. We can't walk into a luxury listing wearing jeans and sneakers and get it. But here's the thing, guys. I don't want to be defined for what I'm wearing. The rules say you got to show up in a three-piece suit and you have to be what society says you are. I'm already what God says I am, so I don't care what society thinks. I'm going to show up as a friend and the expert, and I'm going to be present. There's no Ford. Well, actually, there isn't. If Megan's, so just so you guys know, Megan is starting a change.org or like petition to add a fourth principle about be genuine, which you all do. If you're being present, you're being a friend, being an expert, you're being genuine. It's so true. Guys, the rules say this is how you have to look to help people over here. This is how you have to act to meet people where they are. But you know what the truth is? If God has put a relationship in your life, and you're being a friend, you're being the expert, and I didn't make these things up, guys. God put it on my heart before I knew who he was. And I didn't have any other choice. I didn't know anyone. I had to make friends. I never had a choice. I didn't know anything else. I thought Lake Norman was a town in North Carolina. It's like some of you might, have thought that downtown was a town in South Charlotte. I didn't know anything about real estate when I moved here. I had no friends. So I had to make a friend. I had to be the expert because I didn't deserve that friendship. A friendship is not a friendship if you're not the expert. And you hear fake you make it. That's not true. But the rules said I wasn't going to make it, guys. And the rules say you're not going to make it. And the rules say that a small team that leaves this big conglomerate goes out and starts their own thing. No. Like, we can't change the world, and we can't help clients at 100,000 and 5 million, and we can't serve the community and raise millions of dollars and help families. I sent Jennifer and Beth a video yesterday from Best Christmas Ever. Don sent it to me. He's like, no one else has seen this. It's not public yet. But it was for a man whose wife, with her 6th child, guys, had brain cancer. They did a 3rd surgery while pregnant and did an emergency C-section. The baby is fine. The mom did not make it. And so now they rolled out they're rolling out like a public story about how Best Christmas Ever not only honored them like you all have honored so many families, but the whole community, guys. Like when you see this, like, the whole community came out, like fire trucks full of gifts and blessings. But the rules say that a man who loses his wife, and by the way, you can't have brain surgery and deliver a baby, right? That doesn't work. But God has put so many people around him that he's like happy and he's joyful. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure he's discouraged and depressed. Here's the thing, guys. I was told I couldn't make it in real estate in 2005, and you're being told that you're not going to ever help all the people in your life because the neighborhood you live in has an expert agent, and the neighborhood that you serve in, or the church you serve in, or the synagogue where you go, has agents that have billboards and TV shows and radio, and they do all this stuff, and they've been there before. So John, you can't. The rule said that your buddy from California, a place in your life, can't make it. I mean, I've told you that a million times. They told me that. That like, this is the craziest thing ever. The rules say you can't bring in a worship pastor from California and tell him, do you know this man traveled the world with all his albums and him and his wife and just sharing the good work he did. Like, from 9/11 on in Europe and Hawaii and everywhere in between, never Charlotte, but other places. It's cool. I don't know if you know his whole story, and I'm not going to put you in a spot, but I asked why Charlotte. We have a really good mutual friend, but he's also like, well, I've got this really bad pain in my eyes, and the humidity actually makes it go away. So you guys say that, and I say like, oh, I hate humidity. Humidity's kept you alive, hasn't it? It's funny how it works. If you look at the challenges that become the blessings. So I timed this. I'm going to tie a bow around this, and there's so much more, guys. I just want to stay high level. So again, trying to just unpack this one more time, going full circle. First and foremost, every single one of you has your own testimony and your own story, and there's blessings and there's challenges. And Brad, I know you had challenges with your dad when you were younger. You're one of the best dads I know. You guys all have your own stories, and you can't let your story of challenge not be your story of blessing. The people that God has put in your life are either for you to serve or for you to learn from, either the good way or the bad way. Like, if you did something wrong, you bless that relationship by doing something right. See, for me, it was easy. Because when I was a child, my dad taught me how not to be. Then when I moved to Charlotte, it was even easier because the rule said I wouldn't make it. But you know what? Not knowing anyone, easy got for me? Because I didn't tell everyone I was a worship pastor from California. I said I'm a loan officer in Charlotte, North Carolina, right? And so people didn't know that I wasn't a realtor. They didn't know me as their son's friend who played. Well, I did not play basketball because I'm like 6 feet on a good day, and I wear the Jordans to pretend. The rule said I couldn't make it, guys. The rule said that you can't make it. But the truth is, for me, I just had to build the relationships. See, I said it was a blessing for me because when I met someone, I could show them I was a friend. And when they would reciprocate, I would show them that I was the expert, always being present, because no one was ever present in my life except for my mom. I only got to see her 5-6 times a year. So I really crave that friendship, guys. I really crave that. And so you can tell me rules all day and night, and I'll throw back at you all the relationships God put in my life. So when I moved here and I knew no one, and when you started in real estate last Tuesday or 3 years ago or 5 years ago or 15 years ago, and you were told you're not going to make it, or you can't get that $1 million listing, or you can't help your neighbors because there's someone else who has like a better platform or anything. And I won't even, I'd rather not get the listing than show up. I'll bring your beautiful materials. And by the way, guys, total side note, I gotta give some encouraging, positive words to Cindy. Jennifer was telling me the other day, she's getting ready to get a $1.75 million listing for one of her dear friends in Marvin. And she said that whenever Cindy does a touch from Ribbity, you guys ever heard of Ribbity? I did a talk a few years ago with a good friend, and we did in California, a good friend of mine from Austin, Texas, and he's like the biggest systems guy. he's like a $1 billion valuation company, and his name's Tim, and it's called Systems Meet Relationships. And he has all these great systems, and I've got a lot of positive relationships. And so he said, David doesn't like run his business off back of a notebook. And I'm like, well, actually, we're being honest here. I mean,
It's just a broken phone.
I've got a broken phone. I had Pump Central back then. And I was like, and Tim does care about people, right? But here's the thing. So I don't focus on systems that much. Because the rules say it's all about systems. I'm telling you, we can break the rules and make it all about relationships. And so we do have good systems, though, which is amazing, an amazing success team and leadership group. But Jennifer said, every time Cindy does a touch, Jennifer's chief financial officer friend of a publicly traded company who knows everyone in Marvin. And we both know a really good agent in Marvin that everyone knows. So the rules say, Jennifer, you went through a divorce, you got 3 girls, you were in nursery, like you haven't been doing this forever, you're not the most tenured agent. The rules say that shouldn't be your relationship. And there's probably better systems than what we use. Probably, I say I'm not 100%. But this person who's a friend of Jennifer's and who knows Jennifer's heart, not only has Jennifer been intentional in making posts when we get a big listing or media attention or when you got served, and she always likes and comments, but she always responds to Cindy's emails and to Jennifer. So rules say that Jennifer shouldn't get this $1.75 million listing because we don't have this fancy, we don't even have like a real office right now, guys. We will not first. That's actually happening. Wendy and Beth, you guys made it happen. This office is gonna be amazing, guys. It's gonna be such a blessing to you and your families and to all our clients and community. But like the rules say we shouldn't be doing any of this stuff that we're doing, guys. Like let alone helping with big listings. And yes, to Beth's sister's point, if you just sell a big house, put a lot of money in the bank, hoard it for later, no, we're not doing anything. If you take that money, take care of your own family, and then bless other families, you can change the world, which is what we're doing with Hope Home and what we're doing in the community with Best Christmas Ever. And so you can sell as many houses as you want with people ready in your life. You can make as much money as God wants for you, just pay it forward. The last rule, guys, is not only can you succeed in life, in your marriage, in your family, and in your business, but by focusing on the relationships in your life without the bondage, you literally can be great, leave a legacy for your kids and for your community. But when you pass, we all are going to die. It's something, it is true. Not everyone pays taxes, but everyone dies. That is true. I'm not talking about forgetting about your past, and I'm not talking about making ends meet and paying your bills. I'm talking about changing the world. And so not only can you forget your past and use it as a positive, not only can you make it in this career and pay your bills and stay above water, but if you're a mom or a dad, if you're a son or a daughter, if you're a neighbor, which every one of you are, if you're a friend, you go deep. When I mean deep, you just keep going. You go like relentless, where when I get a video from a friend who have not been, guys, like I'm talking to myself right now when I talk to you guys, because sometimes you have too many relationships. I have some relationships I shouldn't be focusing on, because I'm doing this. Like when you teach, you learn, right? Like when someone writes a book, you understand that the author is telling his mistakes and her lessons learned. They're not the expert, and if they aren't the experts, because they've learned from their own mistakes. And so the third piece here is, now that you've said, I'm not going to be defined by a bad relationship or by a bad childhood or by a challenging situation in another part of my life, I'm going to use that as a blessing moving forward. Not only have you said, like, I'm going to make it in real estate, not only make it, I'm going to soar, but you'll have your own plan that he has for you. Jeremiah 29:11. He has a plan for each of you, and it's not to harm you. So don't forget about your past, and remember, like, you can change the world. Like, you generally change the world. And we don't have this big firm with this big corporate office and like all these like hedge fund people pouring in money and everything. What we're doing though is magical. If you don't see it, like slow down for a second and look at like we're all just coming from different walks of life. We're coming together to change the world. It's actually happening. So I hope this is helpful. I don't know if it is, but you'll have a testimony, and it's been challenging, and that's not who you are. And you all have been told that you can't make it, and you can. And you think that this is good enough, and it's not. I'm going to challenge all of you to go deep with the relationship in your life. I'm going to challenge all of you to forget your past unless you can use it for his good. I'm going to challenge all you guys to not just help one person this week, but to reach out to everybody and just unconditionally make it about them. Give more than you take and change the world. And if you don't know what to change the world means, it means being a bright light for someone who's going through a hard time. It is being present in their life as the real friend. And we have Best Christmas Ever, and we have Hope to Home, and we have other service projects. But Hope to Home is going to change the world through all of your hearts. So we've been working all this, a little bubbling at the top. Now we're going to have our office space. We have all our family services been rolled out. All those things, guys. I talked to a woman the other day who just closed with Teresa on a loan. I'll tie a bow around this. I'm just giving you guys a few examples of how you are changing the world. And she said, you see the testimonials from Covenant First. Like, if Teresa didn't help me with this, I couldn't stay in my house. Ask Brandy, who, when I first met her, was like, I can't go through this. You know, I'm not enough. The rules say that as a single mom with 4 kids, how am I going to make it? I can't keep my house. I can't make it in real estate. Glenn's like, I can't make it in real estate. I'm too funny. You know? That's probably true. So guys, I'm going to challenge y'all. Outside of the rules that Megan reminds you that are important, when it comes to the rules of life, the rules of this world, the rules of society, that God did not put on us. That's the world. That's make sure you jump on your phone all day and night with Instagram and Facebook. That's all that matters. No. You don't go to your next meal without responding to people God's put in your life. You can go to your next lifetime without responding to the strangers that you've been hoarding. You don't need 3 can openers any more than you need two toasters. I'm going to challenge you guys to not go to your next meal without reaching out to people in your life. But first, have a lobotomy about the challenges you've had in your life, because those are blessings, guys. And the relationships you have in your life are more than enough. I mean, I would love to tell you that, like, I worked my whole life to build this platform, and that's like, we have these amazing systems that like just are turnkey. And that's how we sell all these houses. I'm sure the media and the community think that. You know what it is? The rules say we should be not in this business anymore. I'm telling you guys, like you said, where does a business come from? It comes from your hearts of going into the relationships in your life. The rules say, like, there's no chance that we should be doing anything that we're doing. Like, there's no chance that I should still be married. There's no chance that my boys should actually listen to me. Well, they don't, but, you know, like, there's no chance that we at least consider it. There's no chance we should be doing this. And I'm promising you, if I can stand up here and tell you guys any positives from my story, then you guys, holy cow, you guys can soar higher. I have very big vision. You guys can soar higher than my vision, guys. I promise you that. So hope this is helpful. I know we have a bunch of people that are going to watch and recording, so hopefully it's helpful. I don't know if anyone has any thoughts or anything, but this is an abbreviated, just like was on my heart to just share with you guys those 3 main points. But is this helpful at all?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
I'd like to just comment, I came from another, team.
In like 10
Things
years
were
now.
very, very different. And I do stay in touch with, the we connect. And, we talked about some of our listings. Well, how does David get them? How do you guys get all those listings? It's all about the relationships. He's got amazing relationships all, everywhere. And that's how, we're not spending money on Zillow leads. We're not spending money on Realty leads. We're not, we're just building our relationships, and that's the truth. Well,
my dad's not the CEO of Bank of America. When I was at Allen Tate, so I love that. It's a great company, and Mr. Tate was my mentor. I got one referral from him in 8 years, because he had a wife who passed away, had cancer, Barbara, and then he was married again, Bessie. He always had a wife who's an agent. And so people just assumed, oh, my business came from Mr. Tate. And part of it did in the fact that he poured into me, when I didn't have a dad to pour into me. But I remember, they were the official realtor of the Panthers. And now we have a lot of great relations with the Panthers. And Mr. Tate told me that he was from Gadsden, South Carolina. And so people were like, you're never going to make it in Charlotte. He developed this town, guys. And so if I can make it, and if I can think this big and say this point, guys, we're gonna probably help 12 families this year with homes over $1 million. That's good for the blessing that we can pass forward. But also, like, that's number one, and that's market share, which is crazy. But more importantly, we have one family we're helping, and my pastor, dear friend David, is the next door neighbor at the house we're moving into, and so I'm going to connect that, which would be like a blessing, for so many reasons. And it's funny how God works. But yes, I get asked all the time, like, So do you have someone in your group who's like the president of the Panthers, or someone in your group CEO of Wells Fargo? Like where are all these high income, high net worth executives coming from? Where are all these builders coming from? Where this mortgage company coming from? Where did the title company come from? Like what gave you guys the faith to jump ship and start your own brokerage? And I go back to when I was a kid and I had no relationships, and I look at all of y'all and I owe it to you. You're the relationships in my life. You're more important than almost anyone on the planet. And then I think through, well, I've seen how bad it could be. But everyone's worried about, like, well, if we jump ship and bills go up, we lose someone, our systems aren't perfect. Well, when I was a kid, I tried to drink bath water, and it was too loud. So I got in trouble. I got grounded. I couldn't drink bath water, so I moved to the toilet because like it didn't make noise, right? And like you learn really fast. You can either eat dog food or mold. Mold. The meatloaf congeals when it hasn't been in a microwave. It's been in the refrigerator for way too long, like weeks and weeks and weeks. And you're not allowed to use the microwave, and no one cooked for you, so you have to eat yourself. You have to take that off. And then the bread, the bologna sandwich is like green circles. So your friends start giving you food, but then your friends are told by their teacher, you're not allowed to do that because Dave's allergic to everything. The challenge is I don't like rules. So in the middle of the night, I'd get up and I'd go eat a cookie. I'm like, I'm going to gauge this. I'm going to see if I get sick. I'm going to see if I don't do well in my test tomorrow. Now I'm frustrated because I'm 8 years old and I got hundreds in all my tests, and I'm getting straight A's in elementary school and middle school. And I'm stealing cookies in the middle of the night. And I'm drinking toilet water over here, and I'm eating moldy food over there. Like, how's this all happening? So the rules say that I need to just give my kids nothing. I don't want to be a title, but I need to just give them nothing. No, I want to give them everything that I didn't have, right? I don't want to be entitled. I want to give them everything I didn't have. So like, guys, I want to give you all the hope that I didn't have. And when I moved here, I was told you're not going to make it. I want you guys to know, like, they're wrong because you have so many relationships. I didn't have any relationships when I moved here. And so that's a blessing for me. You guys actually have more relationships, which if you use the right way, you can serve more people I could ever imagine. I didn't know anybody when I moved to Charlotte. If they're like, what's your secret success? I was like, well, first of all, I don't think that I'm successful. And I think that you guys, like, if you all left tomorrow, it all goes away. You understand that, right? So I'm only as strong as the weakest link in our group and in my life. That's all I care about is my group and my family and my friends. If a stranger comes in my life, now they're a friend. If they're a stranger, I'm not going to go after them. Does that make sense? So the rules say that we can't do this, guys. But the relationships in your life, you can change the world. So I'm going to shut up now. I'm done. Anyone else?
I
Yes.
want to say something. Because it is true about relationships, but I want to brag on David a little bit because I've never really walked through a transaction with him. And I've been trying to help a little bit, fill in some gaps because there's so much going on. And it's not just the relationships. It goes back to Megan's point about genuine. So it's genuine relationship. It's genuine caring. It's not just saying, I know this person, and so that's good enough, and I'm going to get this. It is hours and hours and hours and hours of communication and working. It is, I don't know how, 4 days in a row of 20 hours of texts and working that, he spends trying to get some of these things to move and to work, working under contract work. So, it's relationships, but there's a lot of work that goes into it. So it's not resting on your laurels that I just never see. And that's why he has those relationships.
Well, Jessica tells my boys that they want to be builders. Knox either wants to be a rock star, a cow, or a builder. Kane wants to lead worship at church or be a builder. But Jessica always tells them, like, well, you better learn how to work hard. You better learn about God and how to work hard and don't leave anyone behind. And so guys, we can't hoard people. Don't seek out other people. You don't need more can openers anymore. You need any more toaster ovens. You need to go backwards to the people already in your life. Don't go backwards to your past. Go backwards to the people already in your life. Don't just help someone to move on. This is not a transaction world that we live in. The rest of the world is transactional. This world is very transactional, but our world is very relational. And to Beth's point, on the front end, on the back end, to Beth's point, it's relentless to get that listing. It's relentless to win that bidding war. That's what we do to get the big listings at full commission and win the bidding wars at the lowest price, right? That's on the back end. That's being present and being the expert. When the friend comes in, I was telling you, where a client we just put on the contract, that was 25 generations. That came from another client who came from another client, 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 who came from like a stranger who's referred by a friend who wasn't a client. And so the rule said I should never pay attention to that person back in 2009, and I should lose touch because the world's distracting and discouraging, and we should just move on. But if I would have done that in 2009 when the market was collapsing and I was going through a divorce and I couldn't pay my bills and I had 5 people living in my house, after thinking I was, I was #1 agent in Charlotte, I think the year before, and then like it all collapsed, all I did was make it about me and not my marriage and not my family. If I would have not focused on the people who got in my life then the client last Tuesday, all the relentless texts and phone calls and emails, all the broker relationships in 2005 and 6 and 7, 8 when I was building the business, and these are our competition, those relationships then wouldn't let today you can overprice a home at DHR and we'll get more showings than other people that have underpriced homes because they trust us. It's like they trust you with land, right? Like they trust us. Guys, do you know that? Like Jennifer's not going to compete for the listing. Jennifer's not going to compete for the commission. Sure, you know how we got the Great Book account? I met with Joe, and he had a partner back then, and my friend Josh, who has a law firm. We had 1 beer, and he said, send me the paperwork. The rules say, we shouldn't get the condo project. How many people did we fight against? We went against the big firms in town, guys. The rules say we should never have gotten that condo project. 87 luxury condos with another project coming after that from one of the biggest developers in the Southeast. We shouldn't get that. Like, none of us are related to him or her. But when you focus on the front end, the people God's placed in your life, being the friend, being the expert, being present, and then on the back end, the best point, when you never go another meal without responding, and you don't seek out all those distractions. The world's so distracting and discouraging, guys. The encouragement I want to leave you with is that the relationships already in your life are enough. And if you really pour it and focus on them and serve them, you can bring in a condo project. You can get multi-million-dollar listings. You can help not Cam Newton because I think he needs enough help to keep his job. But you can help, you can do whatever you want. And then for Hope to Home there, we're gonna need a lot of help, right? We're gonna need all hands on deck. This thing's gonna be global ministry. We're gonna need all hands on deck. So yes, on the back end, it's being present by being relentless and not letting one deal go by without going above and beyond. But on the front end, guys, it's the broker relations God puts in your life for the transaction. When you're serving in Rock Hill, it's the broker relations that God puts in your life when you go to a networking event or a church. And don't think, well, because that's a broker at another firm, they're my competition. That broker is going to bring you an offer on your overpriced listing where you're going to honor a family because you're the expert. That's how you become the sense. So I hope in my broken way, guys, that I'm helping to lead by example, and the fact that I don't wear suits like I used to because the rules say you need to do that because they're going to wear a suit. But the funny thing is, they're not wearing the suit either, guys. Okay, they want to know your mind. You have the knowledge and the experience, and they want to know your heart. You know how to discern it, and you care, and that's the wisdom, right? And so, if you don't know something, someone in our group does. And so, you guys can change the world. I'm just going to tell you: focus on relationships and forget all the rules. Fair enough? We good? Okay, awesome. All right.